Goeiemorgen, goeiemiddag, goeienaand. Whether it is morning, afternoon, or evening where you are, it's always a good time to watch some plant YouTube. My name is Shanae, and we are at the beginning of a new month. We are in October 2025, and with the new month come a whole lot of new beginnings, and there is quite a couple of new things that's coming on this channel. So on Sundays, we are going to do the semi-hydro series. On Wednesday, we're going to also look at a new series, and that is going to be all about beginner plants, especially trading plants. And then we are adding another day on the calendar. We are also going to add some new videos on Fridays, and that is going to be quick rapid fire videos. And that series is going to be called My 4 Friday Favorites in Under 4 Minutes. But coming back to today's video, today is Sunday, so we are going to be starting the semi-hydro series. So in today's video, we are going to look at a brief description of what exactly semi-hydro is. I'm also going to be sharing with you where I get my leca and my pon from. Then we are going to look at how I clean those substrates, and also got some new plants. So there's two plants that I got into this plant loving house just a couple of days ago, and both of them are in soil. So I'm going to be showing you how I transfer those plants from soil to semi-hydro, and then last but not least, of course, repotting of those plants. So we have a lot to get through. Let's get going. So the liquor that I normally use is from a company called Grow Kit in South Africa, and I normally get it from Takeout. I love the convenience of ordering today and getting it today. The other reason why I really like the liquor is it does come in various sizes. So there are some smaller pieces in the 5 liter tub that I can easily take out and use for the smaller plants that I want to potter. And then they also have some bigger ones that I can use for the bigger plants that I want to potter. So I like the variety that comes in that 5 liter tub. I pretty much only buy my pond from two small businesses. One is based in Cape Town and one is based in Johannesburg. The one in Cape Town is actually the very first pond that I used once I started my semi-hydro journey. And that pond is called NicNacNode Pon. I normally get from Chris on WhatsApp, and even now that I am in Johannesburg, I still get from him. So I contact him on WhatsApp, and pretty much a couple of days later, I would get the pun on my doorstep. So they have really quick shipping nationwide. The Jova company that I like to use is called Tangled Roots. I absolutely love the packaging. The pond comes in a 5 liter tub, and I always find some sort of need to use a 5 liter tub. The last time I sent some seedlings, I sent about 4 of them, and I put them in one of these 5 liter tubs. Lo and behold, they did come in pristine condition to the buyer that ordered from me. So the last time that I bought from Tangled Roots, I did go and pick it up at the store in Eden Vale. And I met the owner, which is a lovely lady, and she showed me all of the other plants that she has, as well as the other substrates that she also stocks. I also got to see some of the accessories that she also sells. So there were some earrings that was a replica of some of the plants that we have in our collection. So like anthuriums, monsteras, malacacias. So really cool. And then she also gifted me one of her keyring charms, which I really appreciated. Don't expect small businesses to give away freebies, but it was a thank you for supporting our business. I really appreciate that little small gesture. Both of those pon I really like because they are quite easy to see when they are dry and when they are wet. So easy to know when my plant does need some water again. So both of them do come pre-rinsed, so I don't have to do a lot of cleaning before I use them in my repotting. So speaking of cleaning of the substrate, let's have a look at how I do that.
I throw the pon or leca in a chips or fries deep fry basket, probably halfway. Then I run the water through until it is clean. I also flip the substrate in the basket, similar to what you would do with a pancake, to make sure that I also get the bottom substrate cleaned. Then I would throw it in another 5 liter bucket, You see what I mean? These 5-liter buckets always come in handy. Now this process does not clean the substrate 100%. Hence you would also hear me say later in the video that I do not fertilize for the first few weeks. Running clean water through the substrate the weeks after will help to clean the remaining dirt that is left.
Now it is time to look at some beautiful new plants. So I got these plants off of a GrowCo WhatsApp sale, and they normally do this wonderful thing where they send a list of plants with pictures prior to the sale. And when I looked at the list, there was two plants that really stuck out to me, and that was two Warocqueanum hybrids. So during the sale, I knew that I wanted to get it. Before the pictures even came up, I already typed sold and got my finger on the button to just send as soon as the pictures comes through. So this is the first plant that came up on the sale that I really wanted. This is a hybrid between Papililaminum crossed with Ace of Spades. So that is the seed parent, and then the pollen parent is the Anthurium Warocqueanum. I think you can see both of the parents, all three of the parents, in this new leaf. So I'm really excited to see how this one grows out. And interesting story about this one, the picture came without the price, and I already wanted it. I didn't care what the price was. I was going to get it, and I typed sold. Luckily, Danielle, the owner, managed to put the price on before her husband joked with me and said the plant is actually R1,000,000. That was hilarious. The second one that I got is, of course, also a Warocqueanum hybrid, and this one is called Anthurium Silver King cross with Warocqueanum. So you can also see both parents in here. The Silver King seems to be a little bit more dominant with these prominent, bright, sparkling veins on here, but you can see a little bit of the Warocqueanum shape. So I'm hoping as I grow it out, that characteristics does continue. So as you see, both of these are in soil, and that is not my preferred way of growing plants. So both of them are going to go into my semi-hydro setup. This one does have a new leaf on the way, so I am not going to repot it now. I'm going to wait until that new leaf hardens off, and then I will do the repot. But I do also want to show you this cool plant tag that GrowCo has. Their logo is so cool, and then they have the name of the plant just on a sticker. This is so nice. I like that. This one does not show a sign of a new leaf coming yet, so he is ready for a semi-hydro transfer. So this is the one that we are going to repot. So the very first thing that we are going to do is take the plant out of this pot and remove the soil around the roots. I'm going to reuse the soil in my garden. So like I said, the 5-liter tub always comes in handy, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to put the soil into this bucket. That came off really quickly, so it does indicate that the plant hasn't been in this pot for a very long time. So it's actually a good thing that I'm repotting it now. But I can see some roots that is dying off, so I'm going to do the cleaning of this roots outside, where I'm going to use the high pressure water hose.
A good rinse get rid of pretty much all of the remaining soil. Like I just said, some of the roots had started to die off, which is quite normal when you do a proper repot. Even with the transfer from soil to pon, I always find that the secondary roots are not strong enough for the transfer and will ultimately rot. Hence, I'll go ahead and cut them off and only leave the primary roots. New secondary roots will quickly grow in the new setup. I also cleaned the debris left by the new leaf sheaths. I will also remove any leaves that is below roots, just so that I can pot the plant as deep into the pot as possible. And that is of course to avoid roots from growing above the substrate and having to do another repot really soon. I also realized that there's actually 2 active growth points, so I got 2 plants for the price of 1. Love a good buy. The 2 growth points do not have their own root systems yet, so I won't separate them at this time. In the new pot, they will have new roots growing separately, So then I will separate them during the next repot. And that is it. Our plant, or should I say our plants, are ready to be potted up into semi-hydro.
Alright, now we are at the potting up stage. As you see, my roots are clean, my leca is clean, my pon is clean. We have a self-watering pot as well as a wick. And honestly, this wick and self-watering pot has changed my life completely. I went from watering once a week to watering once a month with this specific method. So I got these lovely self-watering pots from Timo. I originally got them from Take a Lot, and I assume someone in South Africa imported them from Timo and ended up selling it to us. And of course, they had to make some sort of profit on it. So they put the price up probably about 1.5 times what the price is that you would pay. So I'm sorry for the person that originally imported and made a buck off of these ones on takeout. I'm sorry that I am taking your business away. The last time I showed these pots, I also got a lot of questions on these, and I did share that I did get it from Timo. But people really like this element where you can actually mount this to a wall. I currently don't use that function, but it's definitely there if I were to need it in the future. But for now, I literally just use it as a normal self-watering pot that would stand on a cabinet or a shelf. The very first thing that we're going to do is put the wick in the pot, and I am going to lift it up just a little bit before I add my substrate. So I always add just a little bit of leca. So it's pretty much going to be about a centimeter or a centimeter and a half of leca, and then I'm going to fill it up with a little bit of pon just to close up the wick, and then I'm going to put the plant in and complete the pon process.
So like I said, a 1 to 2 centimeter layer of leca goes in first, and that is pretty much to cover the holes at the bottom to avoid the smaller pon pieces from going down the holes. Then I pull the wick above the leca layer and close it up with a pon layer. The plant then goes in. I twist the plant so that the roots spread out nicely at the bottom. Hold the plant in place while filling up the pot. Then once it's filled up and the roots are secured, give the pot a few taps to shimmy the pon around the roots. Top up if needed.
Alright, so that is our plant all potted up in pon. The very next step that we are going to be doing is watering this plant. I'm just going to water through so that the substrate settle nicely around the roots. So I'm not going to be keeping a reservoir on this just yet. I want to understand this plant a little bit more. So I'm first going to leave it without a reservoir, without some water at the bottom, wicking up the water to the roots of the plant. I am going to wait until it is completely dry, and I'm going to monitor it to make sure that I understand the watering needs of this plant, so that if there is a problem in the future, I know exactly what the watering needs are for this plant. So for instance, I did share in a previous video that I know when a plant has root rot, if the plant doesn't produce leaves. So this time that I'm using to understand the watering requirements of this plant is going to help me in cases like those. In my second video, which is the then versus now 10 anthuriums video, the Doriaki section, I do speak about root rot, and this specific method of me understanding the watering requirements of my plant comes in very handy when it comes to root rot. So check out that video if you want to know exactly why you need to understand your plant to be able to help your plant in the future. Like I said, the next step is going to be to water the plant, and I'm literally just going to use some water. I'm going to do a flush of this plant just to make sure that the substrate settle nicely around the roots. Today and for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be using just pure water. I'm not going to add nutrients at this point in time. I think with the transfer from soil to semi-hydro, it's already going to be quite a big shock to the plant. So I think adding some nutrients is going to be a little bit too much for the plant. So for the next couple of weeks, probably about 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to still use just normal water to water the plant. And probably after that, once I see a couple of roots coming in, I am then going to add a low dose of nutrients. to the plant and then gradually work it up to full strength over a couple of weeks. But in next week's video, I'm going to be telling you all about my nutrient solution, and probably the video after that, I'm going to tell you about my watering schedule. So you'll find out a little bit more about that in the future videos.
Thank you so much for watching this week's video. I will see you next week and have a lekker rest of your day. Bye bye.